What was your Thanksgiving drama this year? My 21-year-old sister will graduate from college in less than a month. My brother congratulated her on being the first person in our family to graduate college without getting pregnant. Turns out that's not true. She started sobbing and got in her car and drove away. Whoops. 2 bites into my meal at my mother-in-law's house, my Ring doorbell alerted me to someone ringing my doorbell. I pulled it up and catch an old man entering my house. I bolted out of my chair and went home. She lives close. I get there and no one is there. I pull up the video and see he exited like 20 seconds after he entered, grumbling HRRRM wrong house. The funny thing was, as we were leaving, I thought to myself, did I lock the front door? What are the freaking odds? My food was still warm when I got back to my mother-in-law's house. In-laws are visiting from out of town. Except father-in-law decided to leave yesterday and go home before Thanksgiving and did not come back. He told my wife and I, just not his wife. Mother-in-law is still here. FYI, this is normal for him. Had to call a tow truck on some teenager, friend of front neighbor's kid, because he wouldn't move his car that was blocking my mom's driveway. She told him to move it since she needed to get something for dinner. He answered that he shouldn't had to move it, because it's a public street. I go get the stuff and then get home. I again tell him to move it, because I want to park up the driveway. Shouts at me that I can find parking up the street. Now he has no car for Thanksgiving and cop gave him a ticket. I don't know. My in-laws have a place at a lake an hour or so from our house. Every time we go, my SIL takes the bedroom with a full bed and toddler bed for herself and her 1 child, who sleeps with her. Her other 2 children sleep with my in-laws. My husband and our 3 children are left trying to figure out where to sleep, usually on an air mattress on the living room floor. Well, we came early and took the room. She is livid, stomping around and slamming doors. Has been for 4 hours. Update. Thank you to everyone who responded. SIL eventually went to bed around midnight, after saying 4 hours that she was going to go to a hotel, instead of sleep in the other bedroom with a twin mattress. Mill told her this morning she better knock it off, and the day has been relatively normal. Tried the whole kill him with kindness approach. Seemed to work. Was actually a really good day. Best holiday we have had. Played board games and laughed. Strange considering how it started. My mom died last night. This Thanksgiving pretty much sucked. Luckily, she had plenty of family that loved her and it's been alright grieving. Unfortunately, my sister's last interaction with her was doing CPR. She's traumatized. Everyone is sad. Petty family drama and politics did not make an appearance this year. Just lots of prayers and people telling me they are sorry. My 12-year-old cousin wouldn't eat any of the food that my 80-year-old grandma spent the whole day making, because it wasn't Brazilian. His parents are 100% Italian and we do not have any Brazilian relatives. His parents are brain surgeons, so they're loaded, and their excuse was that he doesn't eat homemade stuff, only high-end? I have no idea what that had to do with Brazilian food, but I'm assuming it's some sort of phase. I don't even think he's had Brazilian food before. My cousin unfortunately came out as a flat earther while I was showing off my brand new telescope I bought recently. The gravy was a war crime. The plastic cooking utensil melted into it. I was the first to find out. I got 1st and 2nd degree burns on my foot and calf from boiling water. My aunt pretended to be paralyzed from COVID to avoid taking care of her sickly mother. My kids got hammered one night. One got left at the bar and walked 3 miles to get home. I woke up 3 a.m. and saw that one kid was missing, so I called him. He was still a mile from home, so I drove to get him. When I got to him, the police were questioning him. Said they had a report of a man with a weapon having a mental health crisis. Luckily, they got another call and let my doofus go home with me. The power went out at the host's house and I ended up cooking and hosting at the last minute. My dad and stepmom were ragging on me, which is pretty normal. I came to their house for Thanksgiving and my brother showed up. My brother and I haven't seen each other in about 4 years. Anyway, so they're going on about me and my brother is getting visibly uncomfortable. They've been like this to me my whole life, and I think my brother had that realization very suddenly, same as I did when my girlfriend pointed it out. It was good to see someone get upset about the things they say to me. It makes me realize I'm not crazy. Met my cousin's fiancée for the first time. She is clearly mentally unwell. She dominated all conversation with her non-stop ramblings, which included a story about the first time she fapped and asked that we buy a baby xylophone for her chickens as a wedding gift for the human couple. After finishing off my truck stop turkey meal in my big rig truck, I went to use the facilities. Guy in the stall next to me was loudly watching funny videos on his phone and whacking off and moaning and intermittently laughing at the video. My sister-in-law let everyone know that her husband has a small peanuts. There's a strong possibility that my stepmother sabotaged my stepsister's cooking. My Thanksgiving dinner was me, my parents, and my younger sister. Just the four of us at my parents' home. Mom got a text message from my aunt, Mom's sister, about how Grandma, Mom's mom, was bad-mouthing the food she made and talking about how her boys, Mom and Aunt's brothers can't be expected to eat this stuff. Mom texted Aunt back with tell her that guests don't get to complain about free food. They just get to choose if they want to eat or not. Apparently Aunt took this advice, because about 20 minutes later Mom got several texts and voicemails. She didn't answer her phone, about how Aunt kicked people out early and how Mom ruined Thanksgiving by telling Aunt to say that. This is why we stopped going to family Thanksgivings, by the way. My boyfriend's brother bought over these really spicy chips he got at Five Below. I think they are called the spiciest chips in the world, I don't know lol. Anyways, both of them ate one. About 5 minutes later, I walk into the kitchen and I see my boyfriend with tears rolling down his face and stuffing ice cream in his face mayo. Then he disappeared for a little bit. So I went upstairs and found him laying in the hallway, drenched in sweat and barely able to even speak. He said he threw up and he wasn't human for the next little bit. Both their grandparents were calling them idiots lol. We found out Grandma gets competitive as hell in beer pong. My mom, who I've been no contact with for most of my life, said she wanted to reconcile and please come to Thanksgiving so she could see her grandson. She wasn't there when we arrived and told my sister that she didn't want to have dinner with us. Literally nobody cared, and we had a great Thanksgiving without her. Honestly dodged a bullet. Father-in-law got drunk, took his shirt off and then arm wrestled my son. Lost. Then tried to tackle his daughter, my wife, also lost. Everyone is worried Grandma has dementia, but for some reason she made a pie. Everyone ate it and pretended it was pie. Not sure what to call it. It was in a pie pan. There was no crust. It had apples. A 22-year-old woman showed up at my house crying because she was lost and asked me if I could help her find her boyfriend's house. I was just about to put my streaks on the grill. My wife and I had a couple drinks at this point, so I offered to walk her to her boyfriend's house. She knew that he lived near the jail and it was only about a 15 minutes walk from my house. While we were walking, she said that her phone and food stamp debit card got stolen recently, so she couldn't call her boyfriend. We ended up walking the area I thought he would love, and based upon her very incomplete description of where he lived, she said that some of the sites looked familiar, but she wasn't sure if we were in the right area. At one point we found a cop and she asked him for help, but he said that he was busy responding to a call. After walking a good chunk of my small hometown, we found his house, a 2-mile or so walk that ended up being just a few blocks from my house. It was a nice walk, my dog enjoyed it and I got to help someone. She is my daughter's age and I didn't want anything bad to happen to her. My dad said this was the best Thanksgiving dinner he's ever had. I cooked. Mom made me cry for being sad about my son's father being dead. He committed suicide 2 months ago. My 5-year-old son peed in the cat food bowl while I was cooking and then cut his own hair while I was eating dinner. My mother-in-law was admitted to the ICU by her primary doctor yesterday afternoon. At 4 a.m. she had to undergo emergency surgery lasting 6 hours. They still can't get her heart rate down and her kidneys may be failing. And my brother-in-law said that we were being dramatic, because if she was that sick, he'd have known before now. My aunt's pet lynx torn open my nephew's scrotum. Straight to the ER. This was my first Thanksgiving without my mom, so I volunteered to work. One of my co-workers was telling me about how her extended stay messed up her room key and went on property to fix it, so she was going to sleep in her car till tomorrow. It is cold tonight, I gave her money for a hotel tonight as a piff in honor of my mom. My mom was cheap and a terrible tipper who would never have given money to a stranger, so yeah, my mom inspired generosity in death. Our family uncle crushed one of the kids at air hockey, made the kid cry, and posted about it on Reddit. I'm the uncle. All the grandkids came over and they are toddlers. They ran around the house most of the night in a pack, screaming and causing chaos and disorder. And eventually they made their way to the mantel above the fireplace, where they discovered a box that they just couldn't resist picking up and opening. The oldest one grabbed handfuls of gray dust out of the box and started throwing it up in the air in the living room, yelling out, "It's snowing, Mommy," while my aunt stared in shock and horror. Apparently the kids found the ashes of our aunt's old cat and couldn't help but spread the love. Swear this just happened a few hours ago and I couldn't make this up. I'm the black sheep of my family and the outcast. Most of my family has disowned me. I spent today in rehab. It's my 10th day in 45-day program. I'm done with drinking and drugging. It wasn't that bad at all. Watched football with the other addicts and had a hot meal delivered to us from the VFW. Yeah, I'm in a VA hospital. It's for the best. Holidays are hard for users. I always drink harder on special occasions, so I'm in here away from temptation. Wish you all the best. I'll see you at Christmas.